Hey, and what's up, movie viewers? Dena Movie Views here, asking what you watching. Well, today I am watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 5, and it is called Truth. Now, remember in the previous episode, Captain America was standing over one of the flag smashers that he just killed, and he was breathing heavily and looking around with the blood on his face, hands, and on his shield. So this picks up there, and the scene shows him running. He's running in what appears to be an abandoned building, and the Falcon and Bucky is chasing him. So they approach him cautiously because he's obviously out of his mind. So, dismissing their concerns, they go right ahead on, and they chase him into this building. Now, when you look at Captain America, he doesn't look well. He looks as if something is going on within him, and who would be surprised to see that after what he has experienced. But he starts to say that he had to kill that flag smasher because he killed Lemar. But Bucky lets him know that he was not, that particular person was not the one who actually killed Lemar. Now, Sam, who is the reasonable person, you know, they always make the black guy the reasonable person in shows. Why are we always put in that position? We are the voice of reason. But anyway, he understands that he was in the heat of battle, and perhaps the government officials may even consider this because it was a moment of where he lost complete control of his emotions, and he thinks that they may in fact consider this. Now, this makes John even more upset. But Sam and Bucky want the shield, and they're asking for it. And Sam asks for the shield. He wants Captain America's shield. And Sam tells him, "You made a mistake." And the brawl begins. Oh my goodness, this was an epic fight. This Captain America, he was fighting up something. I mean, that super soldier serum had really kicked in because he was fighting like a madman. And Walker actually knocks Bucky out. He goes unconscious for a minute, and he is so deranged that he is able to take the wings and tear them completely off of Sam's Falcon suit. And he says to Sam, "I am Captain America." And after an exhausting battle, Bucky and Sam, they eventually take the shield away from this psycho John. And Sam gets it, and he starts to try to clean all of the blood off of it. Now remember, there's a Torres who is considered to be I guess he works for the government, but he's like he informs Sam of what is going on, give him all the intel that he knows about whatever things that they're working on. But anyway, Sam is seen in a scene with him, and he's giving him information about what Captain America has done. Killing that guy in public triggered an international incident, and that he had to go before the council. And that is what was happening. And he asks Sam, "What do you want me to do with these wings? These torn wings that the Captain America has obviously torn off of Sam." And Sam tells him, "Keep them." I think we should remember that scene because I think this Torres will play an important character at some point using those wings. But anyway, he goes before the council, and they strip him of that title of Captain America, and they relieve him of his duties immediately. And Walker is not pleased with this at all. Now, at this meeting, Walker, as I said, he's very upset, and he attempts to explain, it's clear that he's quite aggravated and he's being very aggressive. He wants to be heard, but the council refuses to hear him, and he lets them know, I am Captain America. And while they were speaking to him, he simply turns around and storms off. But while he was leaving, they demanded that he return that shield. Now, he was sitting in the hallway with whom I assume is his wife, and along come this lady, and she calls herself Contessa Valentino Allegra di Fontaine. I thought it was his lawyer or something, but she tells him that she understands his position and lets him know that he did the right thing despite what they say, and that what he did has made him valuable to certain people. She didn't specify who those certain people were, but she tells him to pick up the phone when she calls and not to worry about the shield because it doesn't belong to the government anyway. Then she leaves him a business card. But when they turned the business card over to look at it, there was absolutely nothing written on it. Now back to Carly. Carly is upset, and she says it is time, their movement is ready. Then it goes to Bucky, and he is seen speaking, and he approaches Zemo. They're at this location. I think it's a memorial of sort, but Bucky pulls out a gun and pointed at Zemo because Zemo has given a word as if he wanted the Winter Soldier to kill him and save him for whatever is about to happen with him. Bucky points the gun at him, and he even fires the gun, but in the other hand, he's holding the bullets that he let drop to the floor. So those Russian words, they don't work anymore with Bucky. And then, all of a sudden, there comes from behind him the Dora Milaje soldiers, and they take him, and Ayo says to Bucky that they will take him to the raft, whatever the raft is. But before they leave, Bucky asks for one more favor from the Wakandans. He didn't say what that favor was, and it leads on to Sam, who is paying a visit to Isaiah. Remember, that is the black soldier. He's a super soldier as well, but he has become elderly. But he has that shield in his hand, and it's inside of a cover or something to protect it. But anyway, Isaiah sees him coming, approaches him, and he tells him to leave that shield in its case. Those stars and stripes don't mean nothing good to me. But Sam just wanted to get an understanding of exactly what went wrong with him. Sam doesn't seem to understand. And Isaiah explaining to him, every black man does, whether you want to deny it or not. But Isaiah tells him that he was just like him until he opened his eyes. The men in all the black 332nd Squadron, he said, the Red Tails returned home from war to find crosses burned on the lawn, which is true because, after black people would go fight in the war and protect the United States, when they come home, they got to fight with the Ku Klux Klan. So I guess they tried to reference that in this manner. But Isaiah went on to say that he and his men were all shot up with different versions of this super soldier serum, and they were sent on missions, but they were never told the nature, actually what was going on with all of these serums. They were really being experimented upon, and he said there were some that were unstable and people died. They died, but he was one of the people that the United States actually kept, and what they did to him has had an effect on him. So he's not down with what Sam believes or expects him to believe, even though Sam is pleading with him that he could have been the next Steve Rogers. But Isaiah shuts that down quick. He said he would have never been accepted because he didn't have the blonde hair and the blue eyes. We got to stop that. I don't want to be white, and we shouldn't have to try to be white or accepted by whites. But I get the nature of what he is trying to impress upon Sam. But Sam was really getting on my nerves. I really don't like how he praises Steve Rogers. I really don't. He even told Isaiah that Steve did not put him in jail. Perhaps, but Steve is still a part of the problem that exists that helps to maintain white supremacy, and this is my opinion, of course. Isaiah went on to say that, tell Sam that he was incarcerated, he lost the love of his life, that she actually died while he was in jail, and that the government never even gave her information about him. They told her that he was dead. They wouldn't even let him receive or accept the letters that she would write to him. So for the next 30 years, he was experimented upon, and the people finally found that they wanted to know why the serum worked on him and not other soldiers. And eventually there was a nurse who had sympathy for him, and she actually faked some documents that declared him dead. And he told Sam that was how he arrived at the point that he is now, and he doesn't want to be alive. He, to the world, he's living his life, but he don't want the world to know that he actually exists. And he told Sam that white man's shield, that he told Sam he has that white man's shield and wants to believe the world is different. And he told him, leave him dead. And he said if they knew that he was alive, he would be dead already. So he said that erased him from history. And like they've erased black history for the last 500 years, they've erased it and rearranged it. Now they're teaching our children a totally different version of what is actually black history. They're making it seem like it was just a simple thing, a disagreement, when it was so much more. They're taking away the aspect of the inhumanity of slavery from our next generation. That is why we see a lot of what we see today with our youth, because they don't have a clear understanding of themselves, and I can understand that. But Sam is determined to try to get him to see his point of view, but it obviously was not working. And Isaiah said to Sam, and this was at the end of the conversation, he said, they will never let a black man be Captain America, and even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be. That's deep. But Sam got his shield and he left, and he went back to where Sarah and the boys were, and he began to fix on the family boat. He made some calls to the community and friends, who eventually came and gave him donations and parts to help him fix the family boat. And then comes Bucky. Bucky came to where he was fixing the boat at, their hometown, and he brings Sam a gift from Wakanda, but Sam never opens it. It's a briefcase that clearly looks like it came from Wakanda. Now, at this same time, John, the former superhero Captain America, he is visiting Lamar Hoskins' family, and he's really telling them lies about what really happened, and he plain out lied to the grieving parents. His dad asked him, was the guy you killed the one that killed my boy? And John lied, and he said yes. And his mother told him that Lamar is resting easier knowing the man responsible got his justice, when in fact it wasn't true. But when you looked at Lamar's sister's face, it had a totally different expression. And that expression on her face was like, I see the crap you selling, but I ain't buying it. But she never actually spoke a word, but you could read her face. Meanwhile, Bucky and Sam are back at his place, and they're practicing using that shield. And Bucky admits that neither he nor Steve really understood what it meant or how it feels for a black man to be handed the shield. They put a lot of emphasis on this shield. And I kind of know where the writer was going with all of this, but I really don't like how this was woven into the storyline. Of course, the shield, there has to be something to connect them. But to me, it still perpetrates the whole scene and the aspect of this particular part of it, it keep perpetuating this myth of white supremacy, because there are no supreme white people. They're not superior to black. It's a myth. And I really just I didn't feel like this was needed to make the series relatable to the Falcon. There are many out there like me who are not questioning a black man's ability to be a superhero. I'm not. And I wouldn't be comparing him to some white guy constantly. In fact, that never entered my mind at any point when I was watching it. I thought he would be a marvelous superhero because he had a lot of other talents that made him great, especially the fact that he could fly. Even that alone would be, to me, something that would actually assist him in his job of being this Captain America. I thought it would have been perfect. Now, I think it's simply irrelevant, his skin color in this manner, even though we know that white supremacy exists. Remember, this is fantasy. And I could not imagine that somebody saying, "No, help me because you're black." But I didn't like that it was woven into this aspect of Marvel. I really don't. It's it has to do with the writer's mindset when he was writing this, and I can understand you can have different viewpoints, but if black people are the original people of the earth and the planet and explored and civilized the world, well, why would it would seem almost like a downgrade for us to be mimicking or questioning whether our blackness would enable us to do or accomplish anything, and basing our existence on somebody else's identity. It just doesn't make sense to me. But that's just a little food for thought. Of course, I understand the intent, and perhaps they could have chosen a better storyline. Talk about his maybe being poor, but not necessarily his blackness, because black is not synonymous with being poor. Okay, this is just a myth that comes from and has to do with a lot of times white supremacy. So I didn't like that part of the film, and that's why I don't particularly like how it was woven into there. But that's my opinion, of course. I'm not impressed with that, and I reject the thought that he couldn't be, or the suggestion that he would have to try to live up to Steve Rogers. I think he could have done a better job, actually, because he has the ability to fly, and he can maneuver with those wings, and it could be an asset when he's doing his job of being a superhero. And also, why doesn't Sam have a black wife or a black girlfriend? Oftentimes, we don't see this a lot today. And where is his sister's husband? There always seems to be a breakdown of the black family in all of the movies today. It is implied, or usually there isn't even an explanation as to why you don't see the other parent or the other partner. Why don't we see this? I want to see black people. I want to see black families. I want to see that black man with a beautiful black woman. Sam needs a black wife and black children, a black family, a real black woman and children. Same is true for his sister. She needs a husband. I don't like how they like to show us like that. It is shown too frequently nowadays in movies. A partial black family. That black child didn't come into existence without a mother and a father. And then they don't even tell you where they are or imply. They simply make it seem like that's the norm. And that we know that's not the norm for the black family. That's how it is reflected, but that is not necessarily what it is. And I want to emphasize that again. Put black men with black women. Let's see some black family. And I don't mean those ambiguously black women. I want to see real black women. Not that I have anything against mixed ones, but of course, we often, because we live in a white supremacist world, we often see them using mixed women to take the place of a black woman. I want to see an actual black woman and a black man. I have nothing against those that are both black and white, but I want to see me represented. And I want my black daughters to see them represented and my black son to see himself represented. And that is my take on that. But they tend to replace the original black woman with ambiguous females. Now, like the one playing Captain America's wife, she looks mixed to me. And the only real black woman I've seen is Sarah. And Sarah got black children, but where is her black man? Now, Bucky has to go catch his flight and tell Sam he will be there to back him up when they find Carly. Sam continues to practice with the shield because he's mastering it. And I think he's gotten the courage and he is able to throw this shield and use it. And he's doing some amazing tricks with this shield. So I think we can expect great things from him. But while he's practicing, he get a call from Torres. And he's the one that gives Sam all the information and the intel. And he is the one that calls him and tell them that they have uncovered that activity from the Flag Smashers and that he has analyzed pings and he has designated, he found the areas every time there are pings in the area just before the group is about to hit. And the activity has been all over Europe and he spotted one from New York. With this new information, Sam opens the Wakandan suitcase, but the show goes off and the credits are rolling and it leads me to wonder what is in that suitcase. I am guessing it is his new superhero suit. It came from Wakanda, so it must be the highest in technology, whatever it is. I'm excited about that. But now, after the credits are rolling, at the very end, you see the former Captain America, John Walker, and he is creating him a shield. He's making his own shield. He has welded each of his medals into the back of it. Dun dun dun! Does that mean that there will be two Captain Americas or two sets of Avengers? The good Avengers versus the bad Avengers? That's something to think about. I remember when I was a little child, I used to have that. Now, this is episode 5. That leaves one left on this particular Marvel series. The 6th show is supposed to be the last one for this particular series. And I think they move on to the Loki series. So, if you want to watch, then you might as well do it now. Because the last one is set to premiere tomorrow, which is Friday, for this. But of course, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is currently streaming on Disney+. This has been Dena Movie Reviews. Like, share, and comment. And remember, it's my view. What you watching?